Hey, what's up you guys? It's Simon. Welcome back to my channel. So for today's video we are going to be doing the Losers Club as TikTok subcultures, and I just wanted to do a quick disclaimer to explain how this video came to be. And if I'm talking really fast, it's because I don't want to have this disclaimer block up for so much of the video because it's already going to be a little bit on the long side, so I'm sorry. But anyways, so this originally started out as I posted an Instagram story asking you guys to send me Visco girl characters or characters you wanted to see me illustrate and turn into Visco girls, and I got so many Losers Club requests that I was like, this should be a video in and of itself, and then I will move the Visco girl video to a later date. I also got help from a user, another YouTuber actually, named Supreme Meme Queen, who helped me come up with a lot of the different subcultures, I guess, that the losers would have belonged to. So thank you for suggesting this and for helping this video come about. I also want to say there's not going to be a lot of fan art on the channel, so don't start expecting that too much. I know I did some Homestuck fan art for the Decade Challenge, and obviously there's this challenge and the impending Visco Girl video that I am going to be doing, but I am mostly going to be keeping things original on this channel, so I just wanted to do another little disclaimer and say not to start expecting too much of like certain fan art and things like that, but it will show up on the channel occasionally. But for the most part, I want to keep things original so I can focus on trying to keep myself creative. So there is the disclaimer out of the way, so let us get into the video. Okay, so we are starting in with our boy Stanley, and I'm mainly starting out with Stan because he was the one I got the most requests for to do as a Visco girl, but unfortunately he is not a Visco girl. He will show up as a Visco girl in the Visco girl video in the future. How many times can I say Visco girl in this video? But yeah, I was talking to the person that helped me create this video, and they suggested that we actually make Stan a soft boy because we were gonna have a lot of Visco girls at this point, and so I was like, I really like that idea, and I sort of gave it a little bit more thought, and I realized it really fits the aesthetic he has in the movies, specifically the 2017 one, because that's the one that Stan is in the most, rip our boy. But he does wear a lot of different like pastel colors, and he also has like the soft brown curly hair, which is like almost a trademark of TikTok soft boys. So I was like, you know what, that's perfect. So moving on to the outfit and thus the design portion of the video, I gave him a color block hoodie because I always think about those when I hear soft boys. I think about this specific hoodie and these specific patterns, and I thought obviously since I think pastels look great on Stan, that is what I had to do. I also gave him a middle part just because like the soft brown hair and the curls and the middle part are like really, I guess another trademark, I suppose, of TikTok soft boys. So I definitely wanted to do that for him, and I wanted to keep things simple with the jeans because I wanted to have the focus be on his hoodie, but I kind of regret not giving him like 2 colors of shoes because I think that would have been really cute, and that was a mistake on my part, in my opinion. And then it moved on to, I felt like he was just like a little bit too empty. I only had the hoodie and the hair for him really, and so I wanted to give him a few different accessories. So I put a little bird on his shoulder because that is something that we were totally like deprived of in the movies. Having him make a puzzle that's of birds I don't think really counts as far as showing us that he likes to bird watch and things like that, so I wanted to give him a little bird on his shoulder. And then I also gave him these little cheek blushies because I've been seeing that really often where people will just go ham with the brush and then sort of do like some anime lines with white eyeliner or paint. I don't really know what it is. But I thought it was really cute and very soft, which is perfect for our soft boy. So here is our design for Stanley. Okay, so on to our next 2 designs we have ready, and basically I grouped them together because I wanted to draw them just sort of being happy and cute together, and also because part of their design does rely on them reacting to each other, so I thought it would be simpler to just group them together rather than start off with them being 2 separate illustrations. So there is that. we are also starting out with the thing that really sparked this whole entire video. So when I first had the Visco Girl when I first had the Visco Girl poll open, I got a request specifically from Supreme Meme Queen who asked to have Richie as a Visco Girl, but also specifically Annoying Eddie. And I was like, that's a really good idea and I love that, but also I want to make Eddie an e-boy because, number one, I feel like it really fits his personality, and I will get into that in a little bit when I talk more about why I did that. But I also thought it would provide some really nice contrast because we were at the time going to have both Stanley and Richie as Visco Girls, and like I said, I just feel like he would have provided some nice contrast. It would have been a lot of pastels. It would have been nice to get some darker colors up in there. So me making Eddie an e-boy essentially was like, if I'm gonna have Eddie as an e-boy and Richie as a Visco Girl, we could change Stan. And then after we changed Stan, it was like, we just have to do the whole Losers Club. We have to do it. And so that was really the whole chain of events that led to the video you're seeing right now. So getting into Richie, I wanted to leave Richie as a Visco Girl just because I think, honestly, he'd do it purely for the irony, but also because it would be like the world's best prank for him. I think what all of us were sort of expecting, and I was expecting as well, was to make Richie a gamer. Obviously, gaming is a huge aspect of his personality and of his character in general. Obviously, spoiler for It Chapter 2, his token, it wasn't really his token, but we don't need to talk about that. His token was an arcade token, and obviously arcades, gaming, blah blah blah, they're connected. But I just thought it would be more interesting to make him a Visco Girl because it's sort of like so out of left field that I think it would be perfect. And also, as we've seen from Visco Girls, they're obviously very high energy, and because it was supposed to be him annoying Eddie, I could totally see him like shoving straws in his face and yelling about turtles and giving Eddie a huge migraine. I also thought it would be a really good idea just because sort of aesthetically I thought Richie would really fit that sort of aesthetic. How many times am I going to say aesthetic in this video? Oh my goodness. But basically that whole aesthetic, I did it again, would really fit him because like I can see him totally like trading in his Hawaiian shirts for like super long t-shirt dresses, and his hair's a little bit on the longer side, so I thought it would be adorable to see him trying to get like the teeniest, tiniest scrunchie of a ponytail ever, and I just thought it was really cute and I liked it a lot. So I left Richie as a Visco Girl because that was the best decision in my mind. So getting into Eddie, why did I make him an e-boy? So, like I said, my reasoning for making Stan a soft boy was because he wears pastels, and I know y'all are probably sitting behind this screen and are like, but Simon, Eddie also wears pastels, and to that I say, his mommy dresses him, and we all know this because I don't think that Eddie Kasbrak would volunteer to wear a pink polo shirt with a choo-choo train stitched into it. That's just my opinion. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think had he had the opportunity to dress himself, I think he would have went a bit more on the edgy side, and here's my reasoning for this. So if you look at Jack Dylan Grazer and James Ranson, and I'm sorry if I'm saying their names wrong, but if you look at those two, both of them literally nailed their roles as Eddie, okay? They did such a good job. And both of them have really edgy aesthetics. So if you look at like Jack, he has like his Dull Boy clothing line, and he has like the promo pictures where he's got like this bleached blonde spiky hair and he looks crazy. And then James obviously has a ton of tattoos, which are really cool and obviously again more on the edgy side. So I just sort of thought had Eddie been given the opportunity to do things for himself, that's what he would have done, you know? Like, there has to be some reasoning behind why both of these boys did such a good job as Eddie and are also a little bit edgy slash alternative. And I just thought it would be really, really fun to do that. And then, like I said before, I felt like he would provide some really nice contrast to Richie's brightly colored Visco Girl aesthetic. And I also kind of wanted to just make him edgier because everybody, and I mean everybody, in the Ready tag draws Eddie as a soft boy. Everybody has their modern AUs where Richie's like all edgy and emo, and then Eddie's in here in like pink overalls, and I'm like, that's cute. But I wanted to do things a little bit differently. And yeah, I just thought it would be a little more interesting to differ from what everybody else is doing. So there is Ready all completed. So next up we have Beverly, and I didn't want to actually have any repeat subcultures in this video. Like I said, I changed Stan's aesthetic because I didn't want to have two Visco girls, but no matter what I did, I couldn't really think of a better place for Beverly than for her to be an e-girl. You know, she's super cute, she's very tough, and like has like an overall like really spunky attitude, and I think that just sort of fits that genre. So I made her an e-girl against my better judgment. I also thought it would be fitting to have her as an e-girl just because there's a lot of like fashion and sort of like experimentation that goes on in that side of the TikTok community, and because she grows up to be a fashion designer, I just thought that that was like sort of the perfect fit for her. So I really just spent a lot of time sort of playing with her makeup and her outfit. I gave her like neon pink boots and makeup just because I felt like having a bright color on her would complement all of the black clothing that I gave her. And I also thought the neon pink lipstick, it was sort of like a reddish tone, and I thought it complemented her hair really well. So yeah, I just wanted to give her like a really nice neon color, and so that's what I did for her makeup. I also really wanted to give her this specific chain on a black skirt that I saw on Google Images when I was looking for inspiration. It was like a completely normal chain, but then in the middle there was like this little metal heart, and I was obsessed with it, and I was like, Beverly's such a sweet girl, you know. And then there's like the whole loser lover thing that the Losers Club has going on, and so it was like, a little heart is so cute, and I really wanted to give it to her, so I did. I also gave her some like darker roots just because I didn't want to change her actual hair color. You know, Ben's poem, his whole thing, her hair's like winter fire, you know, and I didn't want to make it not fire anymore. I had to keep it orange. I just didn't want to dye it because I felt like it would stray too far from her original design, and so I just gave her some darker roots because I felt like it would pay sort of homage to all the like crazy hair colors. I know there's like a lot of neon hair and like black bangs and things like that, just a lot of like dark roots. And so I was like, well, if I don't want to make her hair crazy color, I can at least make the roots a little bit darker. So yeah, I mostly just sort of experimented with Beverly's whole aesthetic, especially because, like I said, she grows up to be a fashion designer, and I thought I would just experiment with just making her look cute because that's what she deserves. So there is our girl Beverly. So next we have Billiam, Bill. So his design is super duper lazy, and I know that, and that is mainly because I didn't know how to place Bill at all. I really didn't know what to do with him because personality-wise, he really doesn't fit into like a predetermined sort of group or culture as far as TikTok goes. And Meme Queen actually suggested that I do make him a gamer, and I was like, you know what? Okay, you know, because I couldn't think of anything for myself. I kind of had second thoughts about it, and I was like trying to see like, where does Bill fit? What can I do with Bill? And I just couldn't figure anything out. So I kept him as a gamer, and then this is where I tried to stretch things a little bit so that I could tell myself that it fits. There was like the whole gamer versus furry fiasco / war type thing that was going on in the very early days of TikTok. I don't know if some of y'all remember this, but that was sort of the thing, and war implies that there is a leader or some sort of leading force, and because Bill is a leader type character, I was like, it's a stretch, but I could convince myself sort of that that was the reasoning behind why I decided to make him a gamer. So once I did that, things ended up becoming very generic because I couldn't think of anything, and obviously, like I said, I wasn't too attached to the idea of making him a gamer, but I couldn't figure out anything else, so I sort of just gave him a really generic console t-shirt. I think I thought about it for a while. Like, I thought about his design in my head a lot, and I was like, okay, he's just gotta look as gamerly as possible, you know? Like, I just have to really drive home the fact that he's a gamer. And so I put a console t-shirt on him, I slapped some headphones on him and a little mic, and I put a controller in his hands. I don't hate his design, but again, I feel like things could have been a lot more creative, just a lot more visually interesting. Like for characters like obviously Reddy and Stan and Beverly, I had solid reasons why I wanted them to be this specific subgenre, but I couldn't think of anything for Bill, so he really just embodies a gamer, period, and not necessarily anything too interesting. But yeah, there is Bill. Like I said, I don't hate him, but I feel like he could have been something a little bit more. So the next loser we are getting into creating is Ben, and I am so excited about Ben. So at first, he was one of the ones where I really had no idea what I was going to do with Ben, because at first glance I was like, there's not really a group that fits Ben either. And then I sort of got to thinking about what he embodies as a character and as a character archetype. So he loves history and research, and he's the new kid. So I got to thinking, what sort of group embodies research and showing up like seemingly out of nowhere? And then I got to thinking about ARGs and how they're a huge like up and coming community on TikTok. So again, there's the new kid sort of aspect because ARGs, one, come out of nowhere, and two, they're kind of a new thing on TikTok. So I thought that was really, really perfect. I really just wanted to keep his design sort of simple. I do believe I ripped one of his outfits from the movie, and then I did my best to draw his hands doing sort of like the sign language symbol for help. It probably doesn't look that right just because hands are very hard to draw, but I wanted to keep him looking almost exactly like he does in the movies, because the thing with ARGs is that they look normal and unassuming until you give them a closer look, hence the sign language that I had him doing. So yeah, I wanted things to be really simple. I also think just Ben himself would sort of really like ARGs just because they have to do with a lot of research, researching things like true crime, like he did for the history of dairy, and then there's the whole code breaking aspect. In a lot of them, they'll have just like symbols or ciphers and things that you need to decipher, and sort of just really a lot of research and time-consuming sort of things. And I think that that's something that Ben would definitely be into either creating himself or participating in. And so yeah, there is Ben. I really like him. I like his design. I didn't make it. I just did the sign language, but I really liked the reasoning, I suppose, behind why I made him look the way that he looks. I just thought, like, cause he was so hard to place, and then when I finally got it, I was like, this is it. So I hope you guys like Ben. I hope you like the reasoning to why I made him the way he is. But yeah, so we have Ben all completed, and there is only one loser left to go. So let us see our boy Mike. So the last one we have is Mike, and Mike by far was the one that I think, in my opinion, was the hardest for me to place, and that's because the movie, both of the movies and the book, really skip over Mike and his personality and things like that. It was really hard. I haven't really read the book, so I don't know if there's like a ton of like information on Mike that I'm missing, but both of the movies were just very minimal as far as Mike's screen time went, and when he was on screen it was more about the losers as a group rather than Mike as an individual, and I thought that sucked a lot. So it also made it really hard for me to determine sort of like the personality and hobbies and interests and stuff that Mike would have that don't involve working on a farm and going to church school. I really just wanted to make him like a nice, fun sort of group. But as y'all will see, I made Mike a weeb, and let me explain why I did that. So the main inspiration behind him being that was because obviously he grows up to be a librarian. It's not really touched on that he actually is a librarian in the movie, but according to his wiki page, he's literally a librarian. He doesn't just live in the library. That's also his job. So I was like, well, if we're making things modernized and Mike supposedly spends a decent amount of time at the library, enough to want to be a librarian when he grows up, of course, he's definitely going to be he's definitely going to be spending a lot of time at the library. And if you're around Mike's age and at the library and it's modern times, you know what's going to be at the library that's probably going to catch an 11 to 12 to 13-year-old's eye? Manga. You know what manga leads into? Anime. And so I just thought that if I wanted Mike to have fun, that would be what I would do for him. It's book related. He'd definitely run into them eventually, and I can just see Mike getting really, really into that sort of thing, probably with a little bit of peer pressure from Richie, because we all know Richie loves his comics. I'm sure he'd love anime too. So that's what I did for Mike. I really wish I had something a little bit more developed for him. I wish he'd had more screen time, so I would have been able to like find something that fit perfectly for him, but I couldn't. If you guys have any other ideas, I would definitely love to redraw Mike, because I really want to give him sort of the group that he deserves. So if you've read the book or something and have more info on our boy Mikey, please let me know, because I really want to give him something perfect, but I don't have one, so he's a weeb. So there is the Losers Club all complete. So what you guys are going to see on screen right now is just me merging them all into one illustration, because they all belong together, because they're bestest friends, and that's what's going to happen. But basically, I'm sorry this video was all over the place. I'm sorry if I talked super duper fast. This video was definitely really, I don't want to say out of my comfort zone, because I do draw a lot of the Losers Club, as you guys will see from my Instagram and stuff. I do a lot of comic related things that involve the Losers Club, but I've never done it for a video, and I also have never drawn 7 illustrations in one video before, so trying to figure out how I was going to, number 1, record the video, and number 2, record the audio that was at a reasonable length, and just well put together, and make sure that everything matched up. Everything was an absolute nightmare trying to sort out. So I hope that you guys do still enjoy this video, and I hope that you guys like the illustrations. I am going to put all of them up on both Instagram, and then I'm going to put the full version up on Twitter and have like a compressed version on Instagram, just because Instagram isn't really the best at picking or putting 7 illustrations into one image. So the full picture of all of them together is going to be up on my Twitter, and you can find both of those at Simon AES Arts, just like normal. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to my patron Elise Thompson for continuing to support me every single month. You are the best. If you want to get your name shouted out at the end of these videos, or other cool prizes like tiled wallpapers, illustrated wallpapers, commission discounts, and things like that, be sure to go check out my Patreon at patreon.com/SimonAESArts, and I will see you guys next Thursday. Bye!